This is KGW News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Drew Carney, and we start today's newscast with an update on the 4th of July shootings that happened in several U.S. cities. The deadliest of those shootings happened in Highland Park, Illinois, a suburb north of Chicago. Earlier this morning, police gave an update. Investigators say the suspect, 22-year-old Bobby Cremo, planned the attack for several weeks. He wore women's clothing to hide his tattoos and blend in when he ran away. Cremo fired more than 70 rounds, killing 6 people and injuring more than 24 others. The weapon used was an AR-15 type weapon. Police say it was purchased legally, but at this point, there still isn't a clear motive. NBC's Jay Gray has more for us from Highland Park.
It has happened again, and this time here in Highland Park, Illinois. Another mass shooting. 6 people killed, more than 24 injured. It all unfolded just behind us. You can see the street still blocked off. Police and federal agents still on the ground continuing their investigation after the attack during what was a 4th of July parade and celebration in the downtown area of this small suburb just north of Chicago. The mayor speaking this morning about how it all unfolded.
Yesterday, we came together as a community to celebrate independence and freedom after 2 years of not having a parade. We were ready to come together as a community and celebrate our nation. And in fact, as a result, because of this gun culture, our nation turned its back on us. If this reflects the values of who we are, then what does that say about us as a nation?
The mayor also saying this morning that the weapon found on the scene was traced back to Robert Cremo III and purchased legally by the 22-year-old person of interest in police custody. Investigators say that he has an extensive and very disturbing social media footprint online where he celebrates mass shootings and public killings, also talking graphically about murder, suicide, and death online. That's the latest from here in Highland Park, Illinois. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you now.
Also yesterday, 2 children were shot during a 4th of July celebration in Indianapolis, Indiana. Police say the 8-year-old girl and 10-year-old boy were playing in a bouncy house when a driver pulled up and started shooting.
Initial reason to believe that this was an unprovoked attack, that the suspects arrived on the scene and opened fire on a crowd that was having a 4th of July celebration.
Both kids are in critical condition. A man was also shot, but he was able to take himself to the hospital. Police say the shooter took off and is still on the loose. And in Philadelphia, 2 police officers were shot during an Independence Day celebration last night. Both officers were taken to the hospital where they were treated for their injuries and then released. The Philadelphia Police Union shared this photo with the NBC station in Philadelphia. You can actually see a bullet lodged in the cap of one of the officers who was grazed in the head. Inside the cap was a memorial card for a Philadelphia police chaplain who recently died. There's now a $20,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. NBC Nightly News will cover all of these July 4th shootings later tonight. Lester Holt will be anchoring the newscast from Highland Park, Illinois. You can watch Nightly News right here on KGW starting at 5:30. We also have some local headlines to share this afternoon. A man accused of a racially motivated attack on Portland's East Bank Esplanade is due in court today. Police say 34-year-old Dylan Kesterson confronted a 36-year-old man from California and his 5-year-old daughter while they were riding bikes along the Esplanade. He made a comment because he thought they were of Japanese descent, and then he began punching, both the man and the 5-year-old daughter. Police say both were wearing bike helmets at the time. Neither of them required medical attention. This attack happened Saturday afternoon, and Kesterson was released later that day. Wildlife advocates are reminding people to stay away from marine animals after an endangered sea lion pup died along the Oregon coast. This happened last month in the Cannon Beach area. A Steller sea lion pup was left on the beach as its mother was out fishing. People reportedly ignored signs to leave the sea lion alone and stressed the pup out by approaching it with their dogs. Some people even tried to pull it back into the water. Gathering around a pup like that can cause real harm because when people are around, a mother sea lion may abandon her pup altogether. This sea lion pup died of dehydration about 5 days after it was first found. Finally here, LifeFlight, the nonprofit air medical service, is adding a new base in Salem. The CEO of LifeFlight Network says this new base will cover an area where both the population and the demand is growing. LifeFlight helicopters can provide emergency blood transfusions and ICU-level care as patients are flown to a hospital or between hospitals to get the proper care they need. And that's a look at some of today's local headlines. Big weather headline on this Tuesday, July 5th, is the fact that rain is moving in through the area. Rod, we talked about this morning. Some spots seeing rain early, and now downtown Portland seeing some right about now.
Yeah, that's correct. It's been about 2 weeks, actually a little bit more than 14 days since we've had some rain move through the area. You can see the movements clearly south to north. Earlier this morning, it was mainly east of I-5, but now we got this pretty good chunk of rain moving up through Tillamook, up into Astoria. Here's the Sunset Highway. That's all wet. Light to moderate rain coming all the way into downtown Portland right now. And here's a look at Stoller Family Vineyard Estate in Dayton. They've had some rain. In fact, it looked pretty wet here about 15 minutes ago. Now the concrete looks like it's maybe dried out somewhat. 63 degrees, that's rain cooled. Downtown Portland with rain in the area. We're at 71, but the raindrops will be cooling things off across much of the metro area in the coming hours. So we'll leave the high at 76. Again, a continuing chance of seeing some rain. Rain totals so far have demonstrated that it's possible that you could get upwards of almost 1/10 of an inch of rain out of what's been moving through. We'll still be around 72 at 8 o'clock. One more chance of rain tomorrow, Drew, and then we're still tracking what could be about 3 days of 90-degree temperatures starting Monday of next week. That's in my 7-day forecast.
All right, we'll have more from Rod coming up in a few minutes. Right now, though, we do want to get back to some other local headlines. An Oregon City man who was arrested for kidnapping a 13-year-old girl from Canada will be in court later today. The girl's family reported her missing in Edmonton almost 2 weeks ago on June 24th. She was found in Oregon City this past Saturday. 41-year-old Noah Medrano now faces charges in both the U.S. and Canada, including kidnapping, sexual abuse, rape, and child luring. He's being held in the Clackamas County Jail. Everyone involved in the search for this 13-year-old girl says they're happy that she'll soon be back with her family.
This is a happy ending to an investigation that was exhaustive and intensive. A very heavy week for family and friends.
Police believe the girl and Medrano first came in contact online. She was taken to a local hospital for evaluation. The girl's parents posted over the weekend on social media that they are on their way to Portland to pick her up. We're also hearing from one of the people who rescued a man who fell nearly 700 feet on Mount Hood over the holiday weekend. The 43-year-old was climbing on Saturday when he lost his ice axe near the old chute. He fell down to rocks above a volcanic vent, spewing toxic gas. Eric Brahms is a rescue leader with Portland Mountain Rescue, and he helped save that climber.
You know, a slide at one of those spots usually results in some serious injuries.
The climber is from Happy Valley. He went to the hospital and is now recovering. It was actually an Oregon National Guard Black Hawk helicopter that took the climber off of Mount Hood. The helicopter landed on a tiny ridgeline to offload medics going to help the hurt climber. Last night on The Story, Pat Doris talked with flight medic Dan Cleveland, who was on board that helicopter.
It seems like, just watching the video, the wheels are right on the front edge of the ridge. What was that like for you guys?
To be honest, it's something that we trained for. Doing, like I said, a pinnacle landing is a task that the air crew should be proficient in, just because we can't always land everywhere. We can't always hoist everywhere. And so what the pilots, is just amazing when they do it, they'll essentially just put the front tires down and they'll still fly the rest of the aircraft, and they'll just balance it there just long enough for us to get out.
Yeah, that was amazing. And
yeah,
maybe you're used to it, but to the rest of us, you just look at that shot and you go, holy cow, how do they do that?
Yeah, it's impressive to watch for sure. And it is something I would say that I'm probably a little jaded to, just because it is something that we do on a regular basis. Just flying in the Black Hawk in general is an amazing experience.
And was there anything particularly dangerous in the fact that you're dealing with the hot rocks and you've got these volcanic gases coming up?
I didn't notice any of that. There was definitely, in the video, you can see some steam coming off behind us, but that was nothing that we really considered, or I truly considered just not going over there, to be honest, because a lot of the snow had melted and you can see cracks and fissures in the snow. It's just areas that we would have avoided.
Again, that interview aired last night on The Story, and you can watch full episodes of The Story on the KGW YouTube channel.